Welcome back for another episode of Thinking That Matters. I'm your host, Elizabeth Mahusai, and I am here with my friend and guest, Alison Jenkins. Welcome, Alison.
Thank you very much for having me.
So glad that you said yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. Tell our listening and viewing audience a little bit about you, what you all do, so that they get a foundation for our conversation today.
Sure. I am Alison Jenkins, and I am a partner at RiskWell, which is a real estate and commercial investor-focused insurance brokerage in McKinney. I have a business degree from Baylor University with a management and marketing focus, and was in the corporate world for about 6 years, then joined my husband in 2015 when he launched a brand new farmers agency, and worked with him, got my insurance license after being in marketing and management for 6 years. No idea what insurance was about, but I knew I had some leadership and management skills that could be used in our company. So we went forward, and I've taken a brief hiatus for seven brief years, but joined our existing company, RiskWell, in fall of last year as a executive administrator and partner of the company, and have been really focused on getting the company scaled for the future and set up so we know where we're going and why we're going in that way.
I love that. Know where you're going and why you're going there. That, I think, is such an important piece to it. And often knowing where you're going and why that you're going there is important to connect it to your overall why.
Absolutely.
And for me, one of the commonalities I see among people who are business owners, or they have a desire to grow a business or to start a business, is that they're passionate. They're passionate about something. What are you passionate about?
I love structure. I love vision. I love numbers, analytics. I think it's a book, or one of my old bosses said, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And that has truly stuck with me. So I bring the business background and the numbers, and let's look at where we're going and let's see how we can influence that. So my marketing background, the thing that really drove me to marketing was seeing the analytics behind that, like what influences behaviors. How can we survey people and see what needs to be done, what people truly think, rather than what they're just saying with their spending habits. So that's something that really drives me. I always ask, how is this scalable? Is this a SMART goal that we're focusing on, or is it more just kind of wishy-washy? And if it is, how do we need to define it more so we can really measure it in the future?
It's so good. I mean, especially with the marketing background, I was chuckling just when you made the connection, because I believe most people don't recognize how much analytics is behind marketing.
Yes, people think it's just design and fun, and that's graphic design. That's not marketing. Marketing is a completely different animal.
Yes, and so really that love of numbers can be such a difference maker for you. Now, you did not start here at RiskWell.
I did not.
You spent time, you said 7 years in corporate America?
About 6 or 7, yep.
So tell us a little bit about that season, and what made you decide to shift from the corporate America into what, is it fair to say it's a family business?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It is a family business. So like I said, I started in corporate. I was in higher education contracting. So I was a marketing director for the largest food service providers in the world. So I was on college campuses, supporting larger campuses where I was based, and then also helping support on a regional level too. So I was traveling to small universities in Texas and Louisiana. And I came to a point where I saw all the people that traveled regularly, all the people that I had to report to in the companies, and none of them were truly happy or satisfied. Most of them were separated from their spouses. Most of them lived in an apartment because they weren't established in their hometown because they were traveling all the time. Most of them didn't have kids or wanted kids but couldn't find somebody that was willing to stay with them because they traveled all the time. So it was just like, it helped me step back and say, is this what I want? I'm on this career path and I can do it, but do I want to? And James has a completely different background than me. He has a undergrad degree in kinesiology and a master's degree in communication. And when I met him, he was getting his master's. And I realized very quickly, like, we are very different. The way we think is very different. The way we act is very different. If you give us a problem to solve, we will approach it in very different ways. Very different ways. But there's a beauty in that. And being able to recognize his strength and my strength and being able to fuse those together, his bravery, like he is so much braver and takes so much more risk quicker than me, which is ironic since our company's name is RiskWell. But he's strategic in his risk, but I'm much more, okay, let's go slower. Let's
more
look
guarded,
at this. I am more guarded. I'm more
methodical.
analytical.
Yep.
And seeing what can we do to make what our goal is into reality. So after seeing all my coworkers having those just personal relationships that I desired not really exist, that made me step back and say, okay, what do I want? And it was, I don't want to have to interview for another job. We own a company. There is no reason that I can't contribute what I already am able to do to our own success. And that motivated me to get my Texas insurance license, which I never thought I would do.
Right.
And then I joined James in 2015, and it was a really big awakening of, okay, this is where we're at right now. But we continued to grow. The first year I was there was the best year that he ever had. And some of it was due to what he was doing on marketing, but I do think a lot of it was just because of the structure that I provided and the guidance and just having another person to speak to during the workday and throw things off of. So
Yeah, having that sounding board is so important. But let's hang out on the fact that you work with your spouse.
yes, I do.
And because I work with my spouse.
Yeah.
And so many people that even listeners of this podcast are likely right now saying, there is no way I would be able to work with my spouse. I might kill him or, not want to live with them or, any number of other things. So I want to speak. I'd love for you to speak to that because, and let's drill it down to thinking, right? You were in corporate America. You're now going to come into the family business and work with your spouse. What thinking have you had to cultivate to do that well?
It's a few different things. The first is trusting my spouse. That's the biggest thing. Like I said, he is the braver one of us, but I know what my strengths are, and I can contribute in meaningful ways that are different than his, and we can get to that common goal. I will say the very last day of my corporate job, I had a client that I'd worked with for every day for 2 years. And he asked, "Oh, you're leaving. Where are you going?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going to go work with my husband. He owns an insurance agency." And the client that I knew, that I had had dinners with and meals with and personal conversations with, he just scoffed at me. He said, "I give you 6 months." And then he
Wow.
walked away. And in that moment, I was like, I'm going to prove him wrong. And 2, we are going to be more successful than he can ever imagine. And so that was motivating to me because it was, but that's how people view it. There's so many people that are like, "Oh, I can't work with my spouse." But James and I are incredibly different, and we are able to see and know and be respectful of what we are good at. And we're able to generally have respectful conversations and be able to get on the same page rather than him going one way.
So I
and
hear
me
that
the other.
so you led with trust. I need to trust my spouse.
Yes.
The second thing that I think around thinking around working with your spouse is respect, because you just mentioned it like multiple times in a
Yes.
row. You said see, know, and be respectful. So I think thinking around how can I respect the differences? How can I respect the space you occupy versus the space I occupy? How can I respect you have different strengths than I have, and vice versa? So trust and respect, I'm definitely hearing as a theme. What else would you add to that as far as how do we have to think to be successful in working with our spouses?
You have to be strategic, and you have to be understanding. And my thought process and my thought pattern is a micro approach. I look at things in a very scalable way. What are we doing now? What can we do what do we need to do in the small steps to get where we're going? James is
Visionary.
the eagle flying over the forest. And
I relate.
He sees the entire thing. And I'm like, but we just got into the trees. We need to make sure we have food and water and everything while you're floating or flying everywhere. So it's that macro and micro approach is very important, because I could not do what he does as his position, and he would not enjoy what I do at all. Just because he is the visionary and he is the vision casting. And we've had conversations that involve critical thinking, and there have been times where he has come to a conclusion, has thought about something for weeks, and it takes one question from me to say, I didn't think about that. And so it really just does come down to communicating, thinking things through, appreciating the different perspective, and then moving forward with confidence with whatever side of the decision you land on.
Yes, isn't that the value of when you lead with trust and you lead with respect, then I believe it makes us more open-minded to be more strategic.
Absolutely.
Right? Because we're leveraging, like I love how you just even in the way you think, that you taking a micro approach and he's taking a macro approach. Again, you're on you're completely opposite in probably your perspective, but it's finding a way to leverage, to leverage those differences and perspectives as you work. Now, the guy scoffed at you and said, I'll give you 6 months. How many years has it been?
That was in 2015, so this will be 9 years. So sorry.
If he's listening,
Mr.
9 years later, well beyond 6 months.
Well beyond.
8 years, 6 months later.
Yes, yes.
So, but I think that anytime we engage in decision making that some, not all, but some would see as outside the norm, maybe for them, and where their struggles are, there is going to be the scoffing. And I know we were speaking in preparation for our conversation about doubt. So talk to me about the doubt that you all have experienced. And I'm leaving it very open-ended on purpose. So speak to this idea of doubt as it relates to you all not only working together but building businesses together.
Sure. Well, our whole story is, there's a Coldplay song called "Us Against the World," and it launched, I think, in like the early 2000s. And that was kind of the theme of us getting together. Okay. We met each other within 4 months we were engaged, and within a year we were married. And everyone truly thought we were crazy. I've had conversations recently with my dad, and he said, we did not think this was going to happen, because I had just moved away from where I had grown up, met this guy that my family did not know, and it was just like, what is going on?
What are you doing?
So we really started our foundation with others doubting us, but having that confidence and trust early on, and just making. I had conversations with James, while we were engaged, and I said, it's you and me. Like, I'm looking at you, and it's you and me. We're going to do this, and we're going to do it well. And he said,
I love that.
Okay. And that's really been what we've built our life on. And it's sometimes people think we're crazy, and sometimes we do things that or make decisions for our business, like launching something right before a global pandemic hits. And it's like, oh my gosh, we're only 4 months old. and a pandemic hits, but COVID was one of the best years we've had. It was the foundational year of RiskWell, and it was a fantastic year because interest rates were low, real estate investors were buying stuff up like crazy, and here we are. It's us against a pandemic in the world. So that's just kind of the story of our entire relationship. We also got pregnant with our second child in 2019, and that's when we launched RiskWell. We walked away from an established insurance agency, and insurance agencies and brokerages really live off of renewals of policies, and walking away from all of that and starting literally at zero again after 4 years.
Pregnant with your second child.
7 years. 7 years. Pregnant with our second child. That was incredibly scary. And people thought we were crazy. Again, just you're walking away from so much and starting with absolutely nothing. What are you going to do? And you can't use the clients that you had in the past because of non-competes. What are you going to do? And RiskWell to date has literally never paid for a lead. We have never paid for advertising. We have never had to do any of that because of what we have established as far as being a subject matter expert. The James wants as many letters behind his name as there are in the alphabet, and we are becoming known as the absolute real estate investor and commercial brokerage to go to because we know what we're doing, and we make sure we educate ourselves so we can educate our clients so they continue to come back to us and refer other people to us as well.
So I love that, and congratulations on the niche you are literally creating for yourself, right? And really establishing yourself as experts in that space. I can't help but just revisit momentarily.
Sure.
You said you started your relationship with people doubting you, and that there have been many occasions even since then of people doubting you. Mm-hmm. One of the things I picked up on is you said you looked at James and you said, it's you and me. Mm-hmm. We are going to do this well. That's a thought pattern. I would love for you to share, because I believe there are people listening that they struggle with doubt. Mm. Now, they might be doubting their own selves. Other people were doubting you. But I would love for you to share with those listening, what are some key thinking patterns that you know either you developed to combat the doubt or are just part of who you are that would help them combat doubt?
I think the more you try, the less doubt overcomes you. If you're not willing to take risks and try something, even if it's, I'm going to try to cook for myself 5 days this week for lunches. Yeah. It's little patterns that help develop more confidence in yourself. And also speaking to those things, speak it into existence. Say, I am going to do this. We are going to do this. Rather than leaving it and internalizing it, there is so much help that comes when you speak about what you are feeling and say it to somebody else, or just type it out and journal about it, because that's the first step, is naming it and saying, this is something I'm feeling, this is something I'm doubting, and I'm afraid, but I'm going to name it, because if it's named, it's a little less scary. Yeah. And we move forward. And so I would say push through the doubt, because you never know what is going to be on the other side until you try. And the more and more you tell yourself, oh, I can't do it, the more you will believe it.
So true. We get more of what we think about.
Absolutely.
Right? You know, our brain will expand that which we feed it. Mm-hmm. And so I love how your micro approach came in even just there. It's the little patterns. I was like, there's that micro. There is that micro. But I think there is, that you said, so ultimately if I brought it into a summary, trying new things helps to combat doubt.
Yes.
Right? Because, and I would say, because oftentimes people associate doubt with fear, right? Doubt cultivates fear, fear cultivates doubt. And one of the best ways to become fearless, so we fear less, is that we try more. Because in trying, we actually work our own selves through the fear cycle.
Absolutely.
Right? Because we actually, we try something, we gain experience. It could be positive, it could be negative. I'm sure you all have tried some things that did not go the way you thought they would.
Absolutely. Absolutely, we have. My gosh, the amount of ideas that have made it through me that we have attempted and have failed. But that's okay.
Yeah.
We tried, and we can't let that sense of doubt always stay in us. My brother is 4 years younger than me and was an aspiring musician. He went to college like he was supposed to for his freshman year and just despised it. And he had a very frank conversation with my parents and said, if I don't try in Nashville to try to make it, I'm always going to doubt. Like, think, what if?
What if?
And my parents said, okay, give it a shot. And he was there for 3 years. It did not work out, but that doubt is gone. He built himself more, he created more independence. He has the confidence now. He came back and is in a very successful sales career because in Nashville, he had to sell himself.
He was selling himself.
He was constantly trying to like get in, and
Get a
those
gig.
skills, even though the ultimate goal of being this country star didn't work out, those skills are still absolutely used every single day.
And that's a great point. That just to build off, trying new things combats doubt. When we try new things, we gain experience, positive and negative.
Yeah.
The other thing that we gain are skills. We gain skills. Like for him, he gained the skill of being a better salesperson. And one of the things, that's an excellent point, especially in the entertainment space. I mean, you have to present your ability as a singer, a player, a songwriter, whatever it is, with great confidence.
Yes, it requires bravery, a substantial amount of bravery, because you're so vulnerable when you're on the stage with just your voice and a guitar and people that have seen 60 of the same people every day. And so you have to stand out. And that has been a really valuable tool for him to be able to figure out what his niche is and be able to figure out what he wants to specialize in and what he is really good at in regards to speaking with others.
I love that. And so you all have tried a lot. You've failed a lot, but you failed forward.
Yes.
And you really are owning the real estate, commercial, insurance space. I love that you also shared that you have not paid for a single lead.
We have not.
That you have really built it organically, and also by establishing yourselves as the go-to resource for for this particular space, insurance space. I love that. I would also appreciate being able to hear, what role your faith has played in all of this, because knowing that you and James are faith-based entrepreneurs. And I have a lot of people who listen who are. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it all started, this process. I've been a Christ follower since I was very young. However, about 6 months into joining James at the agency, our church at the time was launching a program called Regeneration. James had been in the program for a while. It's a recovery ministry that covers if you have a shopping addiction, if you're addicted to coffee, if you're addicted to alcohol, if you're addicted to anything, it's a 12-step program that's Christ-based that helps you work through whatever you're going through. So I went in for control and fear of failure because I still had that, you're not going to make it 6 months in my head. And we were literally on one income. We had been on two for 5 years, and it was a lot. So I went in, and that year process helped me understand to go in to my life with open hands. If I am trying to clinch and control and pull at what God's plan is for me, it's not going to bring me joy. It's not going to represent him well. And it's overall going to build and harbor bitterness for me. And it's not going to be a good influence for the people that I'm around. And so do I still struggle with control and fear of failure? Absolutely. But the more we do things, the more I pray and the more I trust God and just say, this is what we're doing. Just may your will be done with whatever it is. One of my favorite verses is, I've not given you a sense of fear, but power and love and
of sound mind, or self-control.
self-control.
Yes, yeah.
And like I said earlier, our daughter was born in August of 2019, and then COVID hit. So if you mix postpartum anxiety, which I had substantially with her, plus a global pandemic where you have no idea what's going on, the tools that I used in Regen 4 years before came into play substantially during that because
year.
there was so much unknown, and there was so much biologically going on in my brain that I didn't know how to handle, but I kept going. I went over and over and over on that verse.
I love it.
In my mind, just like, this is, have self-control, control your thoughts. There are reasons that you have, that God gave you thoughts and feelings, and there's also a reason that he put you in control of them. So where can I adjust? Like if my self-control is freaking out a little bit, like what other part has he given me to
manage that,
manage it and adjust it just a little bit? Still recognizing that it's an important thing to have, but also where if it needs to just like turn its volume down a little bit, there are other gifts of emotions and feelings that we can use to let those quiet down.
I so appreciate that. I believe it's 1 Timothy 1:7, if I have that correct. Yes. It's such a powerful, powerful verse that we've not been given a spirit of fear. And I also appreciate your open hands. I mean, I kid you not, probably last week I was just like this before the Lord, going, put in what you desire to be in these hands, take out what you desire to no longer be in these hands, and that I would be open-handed in that. And I think, but isn't that interesting that it speaks to why you went to regeneration?
Yes.
About the control, right? About that fear of failure. Because let's face it, sometimes failure is what gets put in our hands.
Absolutely.
And it's what we do with it. Do we wallow in it? Do we self-deprecate? Or do we pick ourselves up and go, I've learned some things, I'm going forward. I'm going to fail forward. Because I will say, admittedly for myself, I don't know that I would use the phrase fear of failure. Probably because that's my ego speaking. But I don't like failure. I never have. And I built a whole life around presenting a facade of perfection, even though I knew I wasn't perfect, but I allowed people to believe that I was, and I was okay with it because I so did not like failure. And so I do appreciate that, that piece to it, because I think there are so many people who listen that they likely are in the same place. They fear failure, or they don't want to experience it. But failure is an important part of our living. It's an important part of our growth. So that's so incredibly important. I'll definitely have to have you back on the the podcast, because I do know that we could go in depth on so many things. I would love for you to share. Well, one, probably those of you who are listening, you need to understand that. So our husbands are. They're opposites as well. Like, we're this interesting dynamic of two couples that are both married to the opposite of them.
Yes.
So I probably present more like James, and in terms of like temperament and approach, and I'm definitely more of a risk taker. And Fred probably is more along the lines of, where Allison, he's much more micro. As a photographer, he's very much
absolutely.
into the details.
In the weeds.
He's proverbially and literally sometimes. But together, our this two couple duo teamed up to produce the McKinney podcast.
Yes.
And so, of course, James was like, you all should take over the podcast. And so we had our first interview with May Lee
Yes.
Thomas. She's the first lady to Mayor George. I said Thomas. It's Fuller. It's
Thomas
May Lee.
Fuller, yes.
Yeah, Thomas Fuller. And so we literally had our first podcast interview together.
Yep.
And so that's one of the reasons why I'm like, oh, this would be great for me to have you on my podcast, because then people are just knowing more about us and
Yes.
and the relationship that we have. So what was that like for you doing? Was that your first like pod where you were interviewing someone else on a podcast?
Yes, I had been on James's. James has
His
he
own-
launched his own, like launching an insurance brokerage podcast in 2019 or 2020, and I think episode 7 of that podcast, just being a spouse of somebody launching a
Yes.
brokerage and starting from scratch, and just the perspective that helps provide and the support it provides. So, but yeah, that was really the first time I had interviewed somebody on a podcast rather than being interviewed.
Being interviewed. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to future ones that we do.
And it was scary. My initial gut reaction was, no, I don't want to do that. But that I told myself, we have to say yes because I want to say no. And I have absolutely zero reason to say no. But I pushed.
I love
pushed it.
that. Is it possible, listener, viewer, that the very times you truly all you want to do is to say no, are the same times that you should actually say yes?
Many times.
That right there, that could be a mic drop. Although we're not going to drop the mics. We like them too much.
No.
Well, I would love for you to first tell us, for anyone listening, that they have a need, right? They're in real estate investing, or they know someone, they're in need of commercial real estate. What's the best way for them to contact you all here at RiskWell?
Well, we are heavily active on social media, so you can search RiskWell on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok even. So that's a really great way. You can send messages and it goes directly to James. You can also go to our website, riskwell.com, RiskWell, and you can find out more information and go ahead and fill out a form, and we can get you a quote. Depending on if you're a commercial client or real estate, we can get it typically within 24 hours. We can get something
That's
turned
awesome.
around. So,
Well, Alison, I would love for you to close us out. I ask all of my guests, why do you believe it's important to cultivate thinking that matters?
we are reading right now as a team. We're reading the Fans First book, which is written by the founder of the Savannah Bananas.
Yes.
And I forgot his name. Jesse Cole. He's awesome. We actually posted a TikTok of us reading the book, and he reposted it. It was a very exciting day. But anyways,
awesome.
One of the quotes in the book that really resounds to me is, how you view things is how you do things. So if you go in thinking, oh, this is going to be terrible, it probably will be. But if you go into it with, okay, I have something to learn, there's something that's a barrier right now that is holding me back, but I'm going to open hand it and see like where this takes me, the possibilities are so much more endless than if you just if you grumble and complain along the way.
So for you, cultivating thinking that matters is about cultivating right thinking around how you view things.
Yes.
Because how you view things, you said, is how you
Do things. Just adjust it. That little volume, like I was saying with the emotions and feelings, just adjust the expectation. Just have the self-control to recognize, hey, I'm feeling something significant right now, and it might be right and it might be wrong, but let's push it a little bit more and see where it takes us.
I love it. I've so enjoyed having you as a guest on the podcast. Thank you so much for sharing, and I'll look forward to being back in the studio with you for our next interview for the McKinney podcast. So viewers and listeners, be sure to go out and also subscribe to the McKinney podcast. Our guys, James and Fred, do an amazing job of celebrating all things that make McKinney unique. And so you'll find great content there as well. Thanks so much for listening and for watching.